Hello everyone, I'm Hafsa Sani by name. I'm a member of GIS Club, Girls Should Thrive Initiative.
My name is Selina Sunday. I'm a member of GIS, Girls Should Thrive Initiative.
GIS have helped me conquer one of my fears, which is stage phobia.
I never believe I can do something on my own. Whenever I remember Mama GIS, like she told us, if you are shy, do it afraid. If you are shy of doing something, just do it afraid.
The vision of Girls Should Thrive initiative is to raise female leaders and change makers from underserved communities and vulnerable communities. And the safe space, the idea of the safe space was born out of my experience growing up. I had that desire to make a global impact, to make a global change, but there was nobody to share that idea with. There was nobody to talk to. There was nobody that could actually tell me that it was possible.
Raise female leaders from vulnerable communities.
Safe space is basically a place for these girls to know that they can become anything that they want to be, where they are supplied with everything they need, mentally, physically, all the support, the inspiration that they need, especially coming from that kind of background where you have been told repeatedly that these things are not achievable. You are not meant to cross this particular barrier. So that was why we started the safe space. We wanted it to be a healing center, a place where these girls find strength.
My name is Bridget Idoko. I am the project lead of this project, Safe Space. Before now, we carry out these projects in schools and communities where we go and enlighten these girls on things they are supposed to know, like entrepreneurship, like technology and all of it. But one thing we come to realize is that the time is short because we take them through a 12-week learning process. So we realize that the impact is not really satisfactory. So with this new model, we are bringing these girls to our fold where we take them through a learning process that never ends.
Once again, to all our donors, to all our partners, to every single person that has given a single dollar to this project, it is because of you that the lives of these girls are being changed by the day. Thank you so much. May God continue to bless you. May God continue to honor you, and may God continue to empower you to support these girls even much more.
Hello, I'm Sasha Nicole, and this is Jennifer Agunloye, the founder of GIST, which stands for Girls Should Thrive Initiative. The mission of her work is to empower girls through education, entrepreneurship, and technology to become financially independent. The values that define her work are relationship, innovation, and integrity. Thank you for joining us today, Jenny.
Thanks for having me, Sasha. So excited to be here.
Thank you. I'm thrilled to have you here today.
Yeah, same here.
Can you share a bit about your background and how that's influenced your work in women's empowerment?
Thank you. So this is something I'm really excited about talking about because it just takes me back to my journey and my experience that got me to where I am today. You know, growing up within the community where I was raised, we had this prevailing mindset, especially amongst young girls, where even though they had dreams, they had ambitions and things they wanted to do, things they wanted to be, but there was this mindset that because of the limitations that were surrounded by, the financial limitations, the cultural limitations, there were these mindsets that most of these girls have, that I'm just going to wait for a man to come and marry me, and then we'll just start a family together, and he'll take responsibility for me and my kids, and we'll just struggle through life together. So because of that mindset, you would notice that whenever, even though they had dreams, like some of the girls I went to high school with, they had dreams of becoming lawyers, becoming doctors. But the moment they are faced with those barriers, the moment they are faced with those financial and cultural limitations, they don't even fight back. They don't even try. They don't even make any effort to even push a little. They just relax and wait for something to happen to them. They just wait for who's going to come marry me, who's going to come. So I faced those limitations as well. I faced those financial and cultural limitations, but because I had I didn't have a plan B of just waiting for someone to take responsibility for me. I wanted to make an impact. I wanted to make a difference, right? So I had to learn skills. I had to learn a business, how to run a business. I had to start running businesses in different small businesses to be able to push myself through school, So that just made me realize that everything is possible. Anything you want to be is possible if you would just have that drive within you. And that's just what I wanted to share with other girls. So I'm excited about how I grew up, because without all of those experiences, I wouldn't be doing a lot of the things that I'm doing today. There are a lot of things that happened over the years that have come to define who I am right now, the values that I have. You mentioned in your introduction, relationship, integrity, and innovation. Those are the three major values that saw me through life, that saw me through school. Those were the three major things: the relationships that I had, the relationships, the networks that I was able to build over time, then innovation, creativity, being able to address the same challenges from different angles. Those were some of the things that brought me out, that made people to recognize me, that made people to want to work with me. So innovation, people don't want the regular. People want to, how can we approach this from a different angle, And integrity, nobody wants to work with you if you're not honest. Nobody would trust you. Nobody would. And it's one of the major things that is lacking in our country and our continent. So I decided early in life that I wanted to have that value. And having those three things are like pillars that have supported me over the years. And that has formed the bedrock of what we do today. Yes. So.
Wow. Very well said. So how exactly did GIST as the organization, how did that begin?
So after my university, I returned back home because when you're done with school, you have to come back home for some time before you go for your 1 year compulsory service, and then pending when you get a job. So I was at home, I wasn't really doing anything. I had just finished school. So I just, began to interact with people, and I was asking, oh, how is this person? Where is this person? And I realized that all of those girls that I went to school with, or those ones that I grew up with, who had potentials, who were really smart. I could see them around. Oh, this one has 3 kids from 3 different men who she never got married to. This one now lives on drugs and she's somewhere on the street. This one was married off and, her husband died and she's not doing so. So there were very few people who were actually doing well. They were not doing well at all. And what caught my attention the most was the fact that this was a circle that was about to be repeated for the kids that they had given birth to. So it wasn't just about the fact that these girls had lost it, but the fact that these kids we're sitting on a ticking time bomb, because this is poverty being multiplied. So here you are now with 3 kids, all ranging between the ages of 2 to 7 years old. And they are on the streets. They are hawking. They're being subjected to domestic violence, sexual abuse. So you could just see that it was getting worse. At least for you, the mother, you were even able to go to high school. These kids are not even in school. So what if you, as the mom, ended up this way with a high school certificate? What's the fate of these children? So that was what inspired me to begin to look at the problem from a larger scale. So I began to do some research. I went out to other communities apart from ours, just to get a feel of what was going on. And I was shocked to see the magnitude of the problem that we were dealing with. And I knew that if something wasn't done fast, we were going to have an even bigger problem on our hands in the coming years. So that was what inspired me to start the organization. I didn't start GIST as just for me to solve the problem alone. I actually started it to inspire other young girls who have the same who have the same passion, who have had the opportunity to go out, who have the same exposure to come back and do something, take responsibility. Because it's very easy for us to say, oh, we need the government to step in. They need to do this. They need to do this. But no matter how excellent your government is, there's a limit to how much they can do. The citizens, the people who everyone needs to take on the responsibility of leadership in one form or the other. So that was what inspired me. I just wanted to put a stop to the growing rate of those challenges within this community. Yeah, so that was what inspired the organization.
Yeah. And so what communities do you engage now? Because you're in Nigeria, just to be clear.
Yeah, so we operate in Nigeria, northern Nigeria to be precise.
Okay.
And I'd just like to drop in here that I am not from northern Nigeria. I was actually born here, but I am not from northern Nigeria. I am from southern Nigeria.
Okay.
So that gets very funny because we have different cultures, we have different religions. So it was funny that a lot of people still think it's funny. Like, why would you? I even had the opportunity I had a better job in the South where I could have gone to work, So everybody keeps wondering, why would you stay back? And yes, but for me, I feel home is where it's just not just about where you're from, right? But where your people are. I feel connected to these people so much. I feel like we're family as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. So we work in Kano presently, and our work started from a community called Brigade. Yeah, from a community called Brigade. That was the community where I went to school.
Okay.
But we have now grown to about 3 communities now. We're grown to Badawa community and Kuruna community. So those are the 3 major places where our work is focused on for now.
Okay.
Yeah, our goal is to be able to see this spread across all, because our focus is girls from rural and semi-urban slums.
Okay.
Yes, so
got it.
That's where we work presently. Yeah.
Got it. And tell us, how has GIST evolved over time, and what are the initiatives that are currently offered to girls?
Yes, so I really started the organization I was really naive at that point. I really didn't know what it meant. I was so passionate. In fact, looking back now, I was really scared. I'm like, how did you do that? Like, how were you able to, because I was just all over the place. But that one thing I always say is, when you have a passion for something, you always find a way. There's always a way around it. Yeah. So when I looked at the problems that I saw, I used my life as a model, because almost all of those problems that I was seeing, their root causes were things that I could relate with. There are things that I have experienced. There are things that I have gone through. So I went back and I asked myself, how did you overcome all of this? How were you able, you also faced all of these challenges. How were you able to manage? How were you able to handle it? And I began to pull from my experiences. Okay, this was what happened. This was how I handled this. And I began to pull, and then I wrote everything down, and I asked myself, how can you scale this up to be able to, give it out to other people? So that was what gave birth to the programs that we have. So we have about 8 programs, but the major ones that are really dear to me are the Safe Space program. That's the number 1 program, and that program is where you train the girls on leadership, where you train them on personal development, you train them on the vision, goal setting. That was, for me, I got that from reading books. Mm-hmm. Those were some of the things that helped shape my life, having those, understanding what it means to have a vision and how to, adjust your life to be able to pursue those visions, how to have the emotional intelligence, develop capacity to handle challenges, and all of those things. So that is basically what the Safe Space program is about. It addresses their mental well-being. It addresses them from the inside. No matter how much money you give someone to start a business, if the person has not taken a position on the inside, that money is going to run out and they'll be back to where they started. So that was what inspired the Safe Space program. Of course, from the name, you also know that it was also a place where I wanted them to be able to come and be open and be free to talk about things that have happened and things that you are going through, things that are holding you down. I wanted to just be like that group where you were. And I had that. I had someone give me that when I was younger. And I look back and I realized that if I did not have that relationship helping me through that phase, I would have lost it. You know, so having that safe space where you can actually just unburden yourself, you know, you're not going to be judged, but you're going to be supported and helped. You know, you just knowing you have someone holding your hand through life just has that way of helping you. So that's the idea of the safe space program. That's where that came from. That's what we aim to achieve through that program.
Can you say a little
and then,
more? Oh, sorry, Jenny. Can you say a little bit more about how the Safe Space program actually works? It was interesting to me when you shared how that evolved over time, how you initially started it to be, and then how that progressed. I'd love to hear a little bit more detail on that.
Yeah, so I'm actually excited about the Safe Space program because presently it's one of the most impactful programs that we have had so far. But when we first started, we had a model. The model that we had was a 4-month program where the girls come in and they are trained. They are taking on different, you know, personal development, entrepreneurship, self-awareness, self-confidence, you know, and all of that. And after 4 months, they graduate, and then we take in another set of people, right? But somewhere around early last year, one of the girls that had gone through our training program died at the point of trying to have a baby. She got pregnant. She wasn't married. She got pregnant. The person who was responsible for the pregnancy denied it, and she didn't have the resources to take care of herself. You know, she was homeless at some point. You know, a lot was going on, and at the point where she was trying to have the baby, she passed. So when I heard about her death, I actually somehow felt like we could have saved her life if we had remained connected to her all through that period, you know, because there were a social support would have kept her strong. And of course, we would have provided health support for her as well to keep checking, you know, and, you know, she would have had that baby and she would still be with us today. So that made me question our model, because these are girls who have been through so much over the years. And then how do you expect 4 months is not enough time to renew their minds? It's not enough time to, you know, overhaul their mindset and get them thinking in a new line. So we just realized that model, as interesting as it was and as exciting as it was, once they go back to their communities after 3-4 months, maximum 6 months, they are back to that same circle because they don't have the capacity to hold on to what you have taught them, you know. And so that inspired us to look at what we had done, and then we had to go back to interacting with the girls again, because a lot of we realized the model was from us. It wasn't from them. So it was part of the reason why we didn't really get it right at that point. So we went back. After her death in March, we began to do some more research and some more brainstorming. And at the beginning, towards the end of last year / the beginning of this year, we introduced a new model for the safe space. And the model was that the girls don't graduate. So it's the best way to explain it is the model of the religious churches and mosques. The way you go to church every Sunday, the way you go to the mosque every Sunday, year in, year out, no breaks, no end. That's the way the safe space now runs. So every week, the girls have classes, year in, year out. They come in. There are different programs for each day, each week, each month. There are different programs for them to keep them engaged. But the idea is that we want to see them keep coming. So they can go on to anything else. Oh, you've gone on to the university. Oh, okay, that's fine. Maybe you're not in school in another state, or your family has relocated, or you got married and you've gone off with your husband. That's the only reason why they leave, and we are aware of it. So if all of a sudden someone who has been attending for consistently all of a sudden stops coming, and it wasn't like you informed us that you were relocating or you were moving, you just stopped coming, we have to go find you. We have to know what is going on. So that has helped us to be able to keep in touch with them more, and to be able to know what is going on. Because now what it means is that you always have somewhere to go. So no matter what you are going through, you are here. We're here. We are always here. Just keep coming. And if you stop coming, we go find you, right? And the idea of one of the sustainability plan is that as we grow in our numbers, the safe space will move into the communities. For now, we meet generally together in our office space, our hub. We have a training center. But as we grow, it's going to move into the community. So it's going to be community-based safe spaces. So when we have up to 20 girls in this particular community, they don't need to be coming to the hub anymore. They just have a center. It can be a public school. It can be whatever they can find in their community. They just hold their programs there. We send people to go work with them, just work with them, depending when they grow to the point where they can run the spaces themselves. So the goal is that we're going to have this in every community across Africa. We're going to have just community-based safe spaces where these girls just come together in their community. We already have a standard manual. We already have a standard. So we just go there, train facilitators, identify a voice in the community, and train 1 or 2 people who run the safe space. And then we visit once every 3 months, once every 6 months, just to see. Yes. So we have this goal of building a community, a large community of girls and people who, so wherever you go, even if you leave Kano, there's a safe space waiting for you, either as a beneficiary or as a volunteer. So you either, as you grow from being a beneficiary to a volunteer, a facilitator within the safe spaces. So even if you leave Kano, we're like, okay, you're going to another state, fine. When you go to this state, this is the safe space that exists in so and so community. So make sure you work with them. And we're super excited about the idea. Actually, it gets overwhelming, but we're super excited about it. Yeah,
excellent. I love that you're equipping the leaders to be leaders. And then it'll grow, and there's a ripple effect that comes with that. So I appreciate the sustainability aspect of that too, that it really can flourish, and it's not you running the show at the end of the day. It's really the local people taking ownership and responsibility for their own flourishing. And so going back to your programs, you also have another one called the Support Her Effort program. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so that's the next exciting one, because after we had to remodel, one of the things we also found out was the mothers play a key role in these girls even committing to the safe space in the first place.
Wow, okay.
So yes, the mothers are actually the ones that convince the fathers and the girls themselves to be a part of. So one of the things that we noticed was that whenever they were missing classes, it was either because they were supposed to go out to sell something because they can't feed, so they go to the street to sell, or their mothers just keep them at home and like, you're not going anywhere. There's no food, there's no, so you can't just be running up all around, just stay back home. So we realized we had to work with the mothers, and in interacting with them, we realized that one of the major reasons why they were bothered was because they had nothing doing themselves. So there was a lot of pressure, there was a lot of anger, there was a lot of pain, that they were carrying, they were taking it out on the kids, and it was, so we knew that there was no way we could make, because these girls go back to these mothers, they go back to these homes, So imagine if we have a mother who, after we train the girls, the mother comes to re-echo what we have said to the girls at home. The impact grows, right? So we decided that, okay, what can we do to encourage the mothers to join us, to be a part of, to own what we're doing, to support us in creating a safe space at home for these girls, And that was why we came up with the Support Her Effort program. We realized that over 80% of the mothers were actually making an effort to try and make life better for their children, but it just wasn't working. Because they are not trained. They also don't know what to do. They're just working with what they have also been told over the years. So that was why we decided to establish the Support Her Effort program. So the effort she was making, we wanted to support it, both intellectually and financially. So we provide training. Most of them have run businesses before. It's not that they have run small businesses before, but the businesses end up failing for reasons as little as not being able to separate your capital from your profits. So you come back at the end of the day and you say you went out with things worth $100, and then you came back with things worth 100, and you came back with money, maybe you sold it all off, and you came back with money worth of, you came back with cash of $105. Your profit is $5. $100 is supposed to go back into tomorrow's sales. But what they do is that, oh, that's a lot of money. They take out $50 to settle challenges. And after a month, there's no business again, So just because they lacked that financial literacy, they lacked the skill, they lacked the marketing skills, they lacked packaging skills, all of those little things that could have made a difference and helped their businesses to survive over a longer period of time. So that was why we said, okay, so the Support Her Effort program will help mothers who have female children, first of all, to get trainings on how to run businesses. And secondly, they get funding to support their businesses. So whatever business you are doing or whatever business you have done before, we provide funding to support you to step back up, and then we provide training for you to be able to run and manage that business properly. And in the process, we also now set up a cooperative. So that cooperative is a group of every woman that benefits from our program. They have a meeting day once every month where they come together to talk about their challenges that they face with their daughters. They talk about, so they also give us feedback on things that they have noticed about their daughters, things that are getting better or things that are getting worse, things that we need to talk about, things that we need to address. So they give us those feedbacks during their meetings, and then they also support each other's businesses, support each other's welfare. So someone's child is in the hospital, they gather themselves together, buy some things and take to visit, So it has also become like a social support system as well. So it's kind of like a safe space for the mothers too,
Yeah.
But but it's majorly focused on helping them grow their businesses and helping them manage their businesses properly. So that's actually exciting because it directly improves our work at the safe space. Yes, and we have seen that the model actually works. It has produced excellent results, and it gives us a lot of feedback we get a lot of feedback from the mothers about what we can do better and how we can improve our programs. And it has been exciting.
Yeah. So
the Feed from Farm program is actually another program but it runs under the Support Her Effort program, in that within one of the communities, one of the major resources they have is farmland. And there is this cultural limitation that prevents women within in the north here. It prevents women from going out to work or they don't like their wives or their women going too far, especially when they're married. So what we decided that what can we do within this community? What do you have that can generate
that? Sorry, can I just ask, why don't they want them to go too far? What's the reason or reasons?
So it's a cultural belief that the men have that this is my wife. I don't want another man to look at her. I don't want another man to see her. It's part of the gender inequality that we're fighting for, by the way. There's a lot of they see a woman as a property that has been acquired. She's mine. She belongs to me. So I don't want any other person. So they feel like, in fact, most of them, even when they have to go out, I'm sure you must have seen it, they have to cover their faces. They have to cover, for some, it is religious, for some, it's because they don't want, they don't want them having interactions with any other man or any other. So we still have that cultural limitation sometimes. So pending when that, because a lot of them, it's actually improving now. A lot of them are becoming more exposed and more enlightened on why they need to allow their wives to go to school. They need to allow them to explore opportunities. But some of them, especially within the rural communities and all of those places where education isn't very prevalent yet, they still have all of those biases and all of those limitations. So we have to find a way around that so that we don't get pushed out of the communities.
Yeah.
So we're going to ask ourselves, please.
Is there any aspect too of just protection, of not wanting their wives or daughters to leave home just for their own safety? Is that part of it too, or is it primarily?
Well, yes, it would be part of it at the end of the day, because if you look at it, if you're keeping them in, there's more control and more. So yes, but of course, the cons of that is actually higher, because at the end of the day, the burden of the family's responsibility now falls on the man alone. And how much can he do, especially with the economic crisis and all that is going on now? There's a limit to how much he can do. So that is why the women should be allowed to support the family. The women should be allowed to have their own money, so they can also make decisions. Because when you are depending solely on the man to support you, there's a limit to how much decisions you can make, right? So it's a very deep problem. Like, they are all interconnected one way or the other, yeah. But we just had to find a way to work around that, and that is why we thought of, okay, what do we have exactly? So what do you have within your community that can help the community, and you can also do it from your home without really going out? So, and we realized that farming, both animal farming and crop farming, was prevalent within the community. Then when COVID-19 hit, one of the major things they do in that community is that they have poultry farms. They have most of their husbands, most of the men in the community, what they do is poultry farming. But during the COVID-19, when the lockdown hit and all of that, they usually import the food, the chicken feed, from outside the community. But because of the lockdown and the restriction of movement, they couldn't import anymore. So they lost a lot. Their birds, there was no food for the birds. Production dropped. It caused a lot of setback for the businesses within the community. But it will interest you to know that the raw materials that they use to produce the feed for the chickens are actually grown within this community. So that was when we realized that if the raw materials are here, why don't we just process it? And so we began to explore a lot of local poultry feed milling processes, and we saw a lot of potentials. Like, we were shocked that we hadn't seen that earlier before. So that was how we introduced the Feed from Farm project. Right now we're still fundraising to set up a factory that can actually, so we can get equipment to mill the feed, so they don't have to go out of the communities to get feed. And if a pandemic like this hits again, it wouldn't affect their businesses as much, and it would drop the cost of production to a large extent. And the women are empowered, because the idea is that the women mill the feed and the men, they sell it to the men. And so it just keeps, so they grow the crops. The major thing is the maize. So it just keeps, and it has been very exciting. So we just had to create it as a separate project, because it is peculiar to that particular community where this so that's what the Feed from Farm is about. So we have seen, for the few women that we have trained, we have seen the excitement, because they just come to the idea is that they go to, for now we have to rent, so we still have to go out of the community to mill the feeds, because we don't have the equipment. But imagine when we have the equipment within the community, they just go to the factory, mill it, take it back to their houses, sieve it, bag it, package it, and sit in front of their houses. They don't have to go out, because these people who need the feed are their neighbors, they are their friends, they are their families. So they just sit in front of the house, and and they sell it in smaller quantities. Buying it from outside, you have to buy in bags, big bags. But for them, they can sell it in smaller measures and all of that. So that's what the Feed from Farm is about.
Yeah, that's fantastic. The expression necessity is the mother of invention. I mean, that's it in a nutshell. You realize we can do this locally. We have the capacity. So
exactly.
So, some good things did come out of this crisis, I think.
Oh, yes.
That's a prime example. Yeah. And then tell us about the Tech Her Up program. What is that? And say more about that.
So, like I mentioned earlier, that a lot of things that we do, the projects that we do at GIST were things that, for me, were things that actually helped me personally. I like to be able to overcome the same challenges that I faced that they were facing, and and of course technology. I mean, learning technology early gave me an edge. Like it changed everything for me. So I usually say that even the success of GIST as an organization is because of technology. The fact that I was able to put things out on the internet, the fact that I was able to take advantage of opportunities that I was seeing, the fact that I was able to learn how to use applications and all of those things. Those were the things that actually scaled up my work and brought me to be able to do a lot of things I did today. So so Tech Her Up program was basically just showing these girls that life is beyond you in your small community, because you tell them that, okay, you can make shoes and bags, and in their mind they're like, who will buy it? They're looking at their people there and they're like, these people can't even eat. Who is going to buy my bag? Who's going to buy my shoes? Right? But technology just makes them, the first time we started the Tech Her Up program and we told them that someone in America can actually buy your bag from you right here in Nigeria without you moving, they were like, that's impossible. Like,
mind-blowing, right?
Exactly, you must be crazy. But we showed them the internet. A lot of them have never heard about what an email is.
Wow.
They and those that have heard didn't believe that they could actually ever own email addresses. They believed that it was for people up there, So opening an email address, as little as opening an email address, was shocking to them, And that project just kind of like just gave them hope. Like there's a world out there. There's so much, and because some of the things we do is that when we do a program and then we encourage them to do something, and when they do it and we put it on the internet and someone responds, sometimes someone responds with, people have responded to say, okay, I want to support this person to register her business. And she's like, wow, someone that hasn't seen me before, someone that hasn't met me before is giving me money to register my business, So it just had that. So we haven't even Tech Her Up, in as much as the goal is also to introduce them to the more complex parts of technologies like the app development, coding, and all of that. We haven't even done that. We haven't even gone into that. Just the basics, the little social media and online courses and all of those things. We're still at that level, and it's already mind-blowing, and the impact has been amazing. And of course, the limitation we still have is the fact that most of them don't have access to smartphones, so they only work with what we have in the hub. So it's only when they come to the hub that they can make use of the computers, they can make use of, so that's still a limitation. But on a general note, the fact that they even know about it now, they know that the internet is not just for posting photos of yourself and getting likes. Yes,
there's a lot more you can do with it.
There's a lot more you can do. You can actually get a certificate online. You can go to school online. Like, so many of them just think that is a lot to have to take in. So it's been exciting. So Tech Her Up just basically introduces them to the basics of technology, what technology is and how it can help improve your life, whatever it is you want to do, whether it is starting a business, whether it is going back to school, whether it is improving your life personally, and whether it is seeking for answers, seeking for, you have questions to challenges that you are facing, all of those things. It has been, I personally enjoyed the look in their eyes when they see what a computer can do or what the internet is like. Oh my God,
It just opens the whole world for them. And that's really,
it does. Yeah.
And so many possibilities. So tell us, in your experience, in all of these years of doing this, and you've certainly learned a lot, of trial and error, which is really the way that we all learned. What would you say is the most important component for development to really be effective?
I think for me, one of the most life-changing experience for me that I realized was you just have to listen connecting to the people.
Yeah.
That is the most important component. No matter how excellent your intervention is, no matter how excellent your solution is, if you don't have the people's buy-in, not their buy-in, because we think we have their buy-in when they give us a letter to say, okay, you have the permission to carry out this project. That's not it. When they begin to contribute to your solution, when they begin to tell you, oh, instead of A, why don't we have A, B, C, D? That is the most, the community has to buy in. They have to buy in 100%. They have to, and that takes time. And I know that's why a lot of people don't want to do that, because you just want to just come in. I can't wait to talk about my hero. My God, that was life-changing. My hero with a very large cape flying into the community experience. It was funny, but for me, that was the most, that's the most important component. The people need to know that this is about us. It's not about you. It's not, this is, because they have been through so much, they might not be able to tell you that. They might not be able to say it verbally to you. But if the people are not contributing to your solution, to your intervention, then there is a limit to how much impact it will have. Because when you leave the scene, that ends, that intervention ends. And have you really done anything if it is still tied to you? Yes. So I would say that for me would be the most, that would be the most important.
Yeah, very well said. I think that's true, that really, if you can make yourself obsolete, then you've done your job well. The idea is, to pass the baton and let the people or the communities take it from there. It's appropriate to accompany, a person or a community for a time, help equip them with tools or learning or resources, whatever that is. But yeah, ultimately they should be autonomous. So yeah, thank you. Let us know if somebody listening wanted to support or be involved in your work, what would be the best way for them to do that?
We're very active on social media, websites, our social media pages, Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, Twitter. Yes, we're very active. So that would be our links are all over those platforms. So people can always reach out to us, send us an email directly, or call our phone number, or just simply send us a message through our platforms. We have everything out there. Yes, it would be very easy to reach us through those ways.
Perfect. And we'll make sure that that's all in the description below, so anyone listening can find you very easily.
Thank you.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the methodology that your volunteers use to impart their knowledge on the girls that they engage.
Yes. So, one of our values as an organization is relationships. Most of our volunteers have come to understand that these girls are not students that you just pour knowledge into and send them out. No, the idea is that we want to have a relationship with them. Because we believe that when you have a relationship with someone, when someone has come to trust you and open up their heart to you, it's easier for you to penetrate. It's easier for them to believe you. It's easier for them to accept whatever it is that you're saying. And really, the truth is what the world needs now is not more money. It's more love. It's more connection. We need to be less about me and more about us. The world would be a better place if the bedrock of our decision making was us and not me, right? So that is one thing that we promote at the highest regard. We choose relationship over every other thing at the end of the day, because it is the bedrock, it is the foundation of how we exist and why we exist. So we play a lot. We allow people make their mistakes and laugh over it a lot. We want these people to know that this is not a school where if you fail, you get beat, or if you get, no, even when you are being disciplined, you understand that we always emphasize that there's something called tough love. Even when you understand that, this is why. So we treat them like partners, not like you're down here and I'm up there, And for us, that has made the difference. because you see people begin to open up about things that they would never tell anyone, things that they have bottled up, one part of the new project that I didn't mention that part of the new project that we initiated when we changed the model of the safe space was the filmmaking project. And it was also one of the major things that we saw. First of all, we saw that the industry in Nigeria was lacking female representation largely. And then secondly, we saw that it's a strong tool. The media is a strong tool for these girls to get their stories out, to get their messages out, to let the world know about who they are and what happens to them, So we introduced the filmmaking classes and to address social issues using filmmaking. And it's also part of our empowerment programs to help the girls to be able to, have something. So we have this plan to be able to have mini cinemas across communities that pay as little as $0.5 or $0.2 to be able to, get them, first of all, to reform the minds of the community on how they should view a girl child, on how they should view women and girls, or also to generate revenue for the girls and the community as a whole. And it will also reduce the rate of crime, because one of the things that we have realized is that this model actually came from the model of having micro cinemas in the community. Came from a model of micro cinemas already exist in the communities, but what they watch is football. So the way people go to the bars, to the clubs to watch footballs together, that's the way people go to those micro cinemas to go to watch football, So, and it keeps a lot of kids off the street. Yeah. Keeps a lot of youth busy for that 1 hour, 30 minutes to 2 hours that the game is on. Everywhere is quiet. Everywhere is sane, Yes. And that's a perfect way for the young people to spend their evening. So by the time they are done, they are tired and they just want to go home and sleep. Nobody's doing anything bad.
Perfect.
Exactly. So I remember thinking to myself, why don't they play football every day? And let's just have them going, So that's the idea of the cinema. So in the evenings, so instead of you staying at home and making babies that you can't cater for, please come out, go to the cinema and watch a movie. It's another romantic activity that you can do with your partner, So we realized that filmmaking can actually address so much, So that is, and the stories are actually stories that the girls tell themselves, like their own experiences. We have one of the movies we're working on is 24 Hours of My Life, and it actually tells the story of our girls, what happens to them from 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. when they get out of bed up until 10 p.m., 12 p.m. when they go back to bed. So they talk about the experiences, the domestic violence they see at home, the way they have to skip breakfast because they can't afford it. And they talk about how they are just walking on the street and someone, molests them, all of those things that someone wouldn't normally open up to you about, so they're opening up about it. And it's because they have come to trust us and, have that relationship. So our volunteer base doesn't run like the way other organizations run. It's not recruit and come in and just come and no. If for those ones, we just do those who facilitate. But those who actually work with the girls directly, we have to test your heart. You have to be in this from deep within you. You have to be, and then so we have to take you through that training process of what it means to have a sincere and honest relationship with these girls that will make them comfortable with you to open up. So that's one major thing that defines our work with our volunteers.
Yeah. And you probably touched on this already, but if there's anything more to say about the philosophy that guides your work and how that mentality affects the progress that you see in the girls and the women you engage.
Yeah, integrity is the bedroom, is number one philosophy that we emphasize, because we always say this. I don't know if you're familiar with the happenings in Nigeria and Africa as a whole, but one of the major challenges we have has risen as a result of corruption. A lot of corruption has eaten into our system, the systems of our government, that it has just become a mess. And it's so unfortunate that we as the citizens, we are complaining about it. Meanwhile, All of us actually have the same traits. The only difference is that they have it on a bigger scale because they are in positions of authority. But can you sincerely say that when you get to those seats, you will not do exactly what you're doing? You might be quick to say, no, I won't. But the truth about the issue is that if you lie to your customer that something is A and it is B, you are the same with those people, just on a smaller scale, So integrity, because our vision is to raise female leaders and change makers from underserved communities. And the major value that you have to embody is integrity.
Yeah.
Because that is lacking in our world, is lacking in our community. And we want to be the last set of people who still embody that. And it's the bedrock on which our organization is built. I always say that I'm not afraid to start all over again because I'm not out to build the biggest NGO in Africa. I'm out to make the biggest impact in the world. It's two different scenarios.
Very different.
So it's beyond. So our work goes beyond trying to. Yes, we do have structures. We do have but we don't. The people are more important than the structures. It's difficult to hold that balance, but I believe that as years go by, people will adjust to it and see it as normal. That you have to start thinking less about yourself. There is no way. It's the world cannot revolve around just you and your kids. It doesn't work that way because you would still, if you think like that.
Yeah.
It's when I think just about my family and myself that I would steal from A because I don't care about A and her family. So that integrity and that selflessness just defines everything. That's what defines everything that we do. So whenever you're about to make a decision, you ask yourself, first of all, how does this affect me? Secondly, how does this affect others? Once you have been able to answer those two questions and you have certified that everybody wins, then that decision is excellent.
Yeah. Yep. And everybody wins, which is really important. Yeah. Let's talk about impact and sustainability. How many girls have gone through your program and how do you know that your efforts are sustainable?
One of the challenges that we faced at the beginning was how do we measure impact? Because these things are things that take years to, exactly. They are things that take years to manifest. You don't train, because you train someone after 4 months on integrity. Do you expect that after 4 months, they all of a sudden have integrity? How do you measure integrity anyway?
It's very, subjective.
So we always had that challenge. How do we evaluate what we do? And one of the major things that we realized is that you might not have seen the change, but you would have. Once you have seen the move, once you have seen it, one step being taken, you can say, okay, this person is on the right track. Of course, that's why, like I said, our model was unsustainable because they take the first step and after 3-4 months, they forget that first step and they go like 10 steps backwards, right? So, but with this new model now, it's easier for us to monitor. So, for example, one of the things that we say is that every single one of them have to identify one weakness that they have that they want to work on. So when we identify everyone's weakness that you want to work on, we group them under one mentor. So anyone that wants to address the weakness of laziness, for example. So all of you that have that, you work with one mentor and then she monitors. So this is independent of the training program now. She works with you over time. We have indicators that show, okay, normally you would not be able to read your book for 15 minutes. How are you doing now? Okay, I'm reading for 16. I'm reading for 20 minutes now. All of those. So our monitoring plan is in tiny bits here and there. It might not be very attractive to funders, but we're super excited about it because what we want is long-term impact. We want to be able to see. We don't just want that studying. Oh yes, she was lazy before, but now she's hardworking. Like it takes time. It happens over time. So we're just excited about going on that journey with them. Yeah, and then we also have those that we we also train them on soft skills, how to talk to people, how to address customers, how to dress. So we also make sure that each and every one of them have learned one soft skill before at the end of at least 12 months
Okay.
of the training program. Yes. So those are some of the indicators that we use to monitor their progress. Then we also make sure that everyone, because we also emphasize that no matter what your goal is, every single person has to have one skill that can earn you money.
Yep.
Whether you decide to go get a job, whatever it is you decide to do, that's fine. But you must have a skill that earns you money. And that's why we train them on a lot of hand skills. So apart from the filmmaking skill, we also have how to make hair, how to make jewelries, how to make books, how to art, how to paint, how to transform waste into materials that people use daily. Yeah. So at the end of 12 months, they also have to have at least one skill that they have earned, and that is helping them and they can actually put to use to make some money for themselves. So those are for the sustainability of the program. One of the major reasons why we are not under any pressure about sustainability is because we're raising our girls to own the program.
Yeah.
That is one of the definitions of successes for us. So one of our girls is actually excited about going to start a safe space within her community. We haven't just allowed it yet because we're presently in the piloting phase of this particular model. So we want to be done with it first so that we know what works and what doesn't work before we spread out. But she is actually excited because there's so many girls in our community that she feels will benefit. And she's so forward. You can see her. She doesn't speak English. She doesn't know, but she's just so excited to she just wants to just do something for people, So those are some of the things we're looking forward to when we would see our girls go start up by themselves. Not that we ask you to go, but just because you have come to see the value and you have been impacted so much, you're like, I want to go back and start this within my community. So that for us would be how we will measure the success and how we intend. So remember when I said we want to see this spread across Africa, it's not because we would be jumping from state to state and country to country to establish safe spaces. No, we want people from those regions to say, okay, we want to start, then we support, or people who have gone through our training programs would say, okay, we want to start this, and then we provide them with the support, with the materials that they need to kick it off. So our program is super exciting. We used to say that as time goes on, we're going to have a card, like an ID card that our girls will all own, and people across the world will be excited to employ girls from GIST, because you would know that this girl has capacity. She has been taken through some. Yes. So if we find out that you are in any way associated with corruption, we will take our card back. And
Wow.
Yes, because the kind of community we want to build, we want to have a strong community across Africa that that these are a set of girls and women who have strong values, who have strong leadership capacities, and who are well equipped and trained in informal educations and things that in everyday so we would as time goes on, we would train them on how to take care of babies, how to take care of their streets, how to take care of homes. We just want them to be so rounded in every aspect of their lives. They are so equipped and so strengthened. So that's why we're excited. We're super excited that the model is sustainable. It's going to get to a time where people are going to be like, you mean you have not been to GIST Hub? You need to, even people from privileged homes who want their kids to go through this program because they know that at the end of the day, this person is going to come out with so much value and so much. So we're super excited about the work. It's going to take time, and we are not in a hurry at all.
Yep. Slow and steady wins the race, right? Yeah. Can you tell us about either an individual or a specific community that's really impacted you or touched you personally in your work?
You mean my community personally, or
as you've ventured into GIST and women that you've worked with, is there anyone who's really stood out to you as either a major transformation story or maybe an experience that you learned from that maybe you didn't expect? Anything in particular?
Yeah. So I'm going to share a story with you. Very, very, very scary story, but
okay.
So there was a program. There's one of our programs that we have. It's called March Against Hunger. It's just an annual program where we just give people food, just people who live off the street and all of that. So we had this one in March 2018. We had it in a community where we had these kids and families who live off the streets. And so when we started the advocacy visit before the program, there was this particular woman I met. She stood out for me because she had her daughter. Her oldest daughter was crippled. Yeah, right. She was crippled, and she looked a little bit enlightened. She looked a little bit, she didn't look like the regular local rural woman. And I just picked interest in her. And then, we just got talking and all of that. So we got her daughter a wheelchair because she couldn't walk. She was literally crawling on the road. They live on the street, begging and all of that. So we gave the daughter a wheelchair and all of that. So part of the program was that after the March Against Hunger program, we empower, during that time, we only had the capacity to empower about 5 women. So I went to meet the community head, the person in charge. Oh, now that we've done this program, we want to empower 5 women to, so they can leave the streets, and, have. I said, this is the way we want to do it. These are the people that we have seen, we would like to. So I included that woman that I was interested in. And then the man was like, okay, come back tomorrow and have a meeting with this woman. By the time I came back the next day, the man brought his wife, his sister, his friend's wife. He just brought his family members and said to me, these are the people that you are going to empower. And I was like, no, these people were not even there the day we did the program. These people look good. They look like they're doing well. These are not the people that we want. So he goes, the head of this community, you do as I say. These are the people that you are going to empower. And I insisted, and I said, no, I'm not doing this. You won't believe he picked up a cutlass. Do you know what a cutlass is?
No.
A knife. The big knives that they used to chop down trees.
Oh my gosh.
And he was like, he was going to kill me if I don't do this. I literally ran. I left my shoes. I was running. Normally I go to the community with my daughter because I didn't have a caregiver then. So I was so thankful that I didn't go to the community with my daughter that day because I wouldn't have been able to run as fast as I did. And I don't even want to imagine what would have happened. So I ran, it was scary. Wow. But do you know the funny thing was that he also banished this woman out of the community. That woman that I was interested in. So he banished her, that she was not going to benefit from all of the, normally when people live off the streets, anytime someone wants to do some good, they come to the community and give them, share. So he said she was not going to benefit from anything again and all of that. Except she refuses to have anything to do with us again, and all that. So for me, we didn't have the capacity to empower her to that extent. So I was of the opinion that she goes back to the community and, so that she can continue to eat. At least you can't just, but she said to me that that was when she told me her story. So they actually have a home that had been taken off by the rain. The rain had spoiled their home, and then their daughter was actually a victim of a bad drug, something like that, a bad injury. So she wasn't born crippled. It actually happened and she said before that happened, they were doing well. They had food to eat. They had a good home. They were doing well. But when that happened to their daughter, they began to search for solution. They went from hospital to hospital, and that was when they lost everything they had. They had to sell their home, sell their, that was when they just trying to find, a solution to their daughter's condition, and then her husband also had a major accident rather, where he was working. He broke his arm, so he can only use one arm. So she said that this was not the life that she thought she was going to be living, and that she doesn't know how, but she just feels like if she takes on the challenge and leaves, that the reason why she isn't pushing for much is because she keeps getting little from the streets. But if she can just pick up the challenge and leave, that she will be forced to find, I was so inspired by that level of that level of positivity from her. I felt she was going to be upset with me for causing that kind of, reaction from their community and all. And she said to me that when she said that to me, I fundraised on the internet for her to be able to I could share pictures with you for us to be able to fix her home. We fixed their home. They went back home. We fundraised for the girl to be able to go back to school. That's the crippled girl, to be able to go back to school. And at the point where we couldn't pay the girl's school fees anymore, the mom actually began to, do stuffs, things that she wouldn't do normally before. She began to do things, sell this here, get this here, just to make sure the girl finishes school, and then she was part of the people that we started the poultry business with, and she now leads the cooperative of the women. So you can see her now, she's so forward, and she never, sometimes most of these people, they try to take advantage of you, when they're like, oh, give me money, but she has never, that was 2018, this is 2021, she has never, in fact, when I had my second baby, she brought some things for me. Like, she even tries to give. She tries to, from having nothing. This was someone that was living off the street with her kids. You can see her making effort. She helps us with our advocacy now. She helps us with our data collection. She's just so amazing. And the most exciting part is that someone has placed one of her girls on a scholarship throughout school. So, and the school is quite far. Where the scholarship is, the school is quite far, because within the community, they don't have so many good schools. But you would see this woman would wake up before 6 a.m. and carry her daughter and walk for over 45 minutes just to ensure that she doesn't miss a day in school. Yeah, sometimes I wish we can make that process easier for her, but we don't have the capacity to do that. But just seeing her pushing so hard for, a lot of these people would have said, please, I can't do this. This girl should stay at home. But you can see the excitement about the fact that her daughter is in a good school. She's just, so that woman inspires me. Like, sometimes I would want to just give up and just go back to, because it gets so tough, But when you think about people like that who are pushing against all odds, despite where they're coming from and all they have been through, I am super inspired. I'm super excited. Her name is Mama Amira. She's such an inspiration. I'm really going to share her photo so that you can, people need. She's such an inspiration with her daughter. I mean, sometimes she just shows up at the office just to appreciate us for all that, and it gets so emotional. You can see her breaking down in tears. She's so, yes, that is definitely the number one story that stands out for me.
Wow.
Yeah,
I can see it's really impacted you on many levels. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you just, for being here today. Just one more time for anyone who's listening, if they wanted to support your work, what would be the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, just reach out through our website, which is going to be on display, I believe, our website, our social media handles, our phone numbers, our emails. We're very active on all platforms, and we have our account details as well. You can just reach out through any of those mediums, and we would be really excited to hear from you, because a lot of our work that we do comes from donations of individuals and people who just believe in what we're doing and who are super excited about. If you go through our social media platforms, you would see the people that we work with. It's all there, like everybody, the impacts that we have had over time, and the transformation in the lives of the people. I mean, it's and we'll be more than grateful to have you join us. So just reach out to us through any of the mediums that you feel best and comfortable with, and we'll be happy to hear from you.
Perfect. And again, we'll put all of that in the description below, so you're very accessible for anyone who's listening today. So Jenny, thank you so much for sharing about your work and the journey that you've been on and the vision that you have to equip these women to be strong and visionaries in their communities. And I think the impact that you have is not only going to benefit the communities today, but then their children will be impacted and their children will be impacted, and really it'll flow out from that. And I think that's just very much in alignment with the philosophy of Emanate, that people would be equipped to flourish. So thank you so much for your story and for your time today. And I commend you in the work that you're doing. I think it's beautiful, and it's really right on point. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sasha, for having me. I'm super, super excited to have the opportunity to share our story with the world. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Here at Emanate International, it is our mission to promote nonprofits and social enterprises that equip people and communities to become independent, autonomous, thriving members of society. Indeed, GIST is doing phenomenal work to empower girls and women in Nigeria's underprivileged communities to become financially independent and develop their own sustainable solutions. If you enjoyed our discussion today, please be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to be in the know for future inspirational conversations with other leaders who are making great gains and improving our world. Thank you.